Current day Star Wars is a disaster. Every story is lackluster, there's few good actors left in the franchise, and Lucasfilm hates even the most loyal fans. But Obi-Wan's first 2 episodes have finally released, and this was a series I've been looking forward to, primarily because it's got Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen reuniting on screen again, but the first 2 episodes have already failed to impress me and many other people. The Rotten Tomatoes score is bad. It's getting mediocre reviews from journalists, from Star Wars fans on social media, and I have a lot of things to show off. But before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start off with this Forbes article titled, "I have mixed feelings about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series premiere." Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, I will be giving my thoughts in a moment or two. It failed to impress me, though. I love Star Wars, and I was excited for the series, and hey, maybe as the episodes go on, this show will get better, but the first 2 episodes just were not good. There were a lot of problems. So it says, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a live-action TV series that I've been hoping for since long before it was ever announced. Actually, prior to the rise of the Star Wars live-action television programs like The Mandalorian, I hoped that Lucasfilm would make a standalone Obi-Wan Kenobi film set between the events of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. There were some nice surprises. The trailers made this look like a show that would once again be centered around Tatooine, where Kenobi, hidden from the Empire and its Inquisitors, looked over a young Luke Skywalker from the shadows, and it certainly started that way until a big twist, a pretentious, opinionated, and rather wild 10-year-old Princess Leia. Leia, not Luke, is the baby Yoda of this story, or that's how it appears to be shaping up. When Leia is kidnapped from her home on Alderaan, her adoptive parents turn to Obi-Wan for help. Now, this already is a big problem that I have, the fact that Leia seems to be the center of the story, or at least the first few episodes, and of course, there's only a couple of episodes left, let's be honest. I mean, there's 8 episodes in this series, and we've already watched 2 of them. Now, I feel like I don't have to say this, but I absolutely love Leia. Carrie Fisher did an amazing job portraying this character, and Princess Leia was always such a strong female character, and she was an inspiration for me personally. But looking at this version of Leia that they've put into Obi-Wan, I'm just not very impressed, and it's simply because of her age. Now, if this was an older teenage Princess Leia, I think that it could work, but it's like they said, okay, why do people like original Princess Leia? She's opinionated, she's a strong woman, and they took the younger version of her and amped that up. They turned those features and qualities up by like 1,000, and it's way too overpowering in this series. I mean, she's only supposed to be 10 years old. I understand running into the woods, wanting to be alone, wanting to be away from the life that she's living. Okay, I could see that. She's a kid. She just wants to explore. But just the way that they portray her is way too much for me. Now, throughout this series, you see Obi-Wan running around, trying to be stealthy, trying to be the Jedi that he once was while still being undercover, and I completely understand the fact that Obi-Wan isn't as powerful as he once was at the beginning of this series, because he's been in hiding for so many years. He hasn't tapped into the Force, so to speak, but you'd think he'd be able to levitate a small being for a few seconds without her being 2 seconds away from death, and it's straining him so much. And that's what happened. She falls off of a rooftop, and she's like 2 feet above the ground, and then he finally is able to help the rest of that fall so she doesn't end up becoming a splatter on the ground. And I just feel like, yes, 10 years is a long time, but it's not as long as it could be. And I think that, again, while his Force connection is severed, I don't think he wouldn't be able to do that for a couple of seconds. But that's not the largest problem I've had after the first 2 episodes. I mean, there are many, many other problems, but I hope that he's able to actually become the Obi-Wan that we remember in the series, or somewhere close. Otherwise, what's the point to this series so he can get his ass kicked constantly? That won't make for a very entertaining series. And again, it's not like this is a show with 20 episodes for a season. I mean, we're talking 8 episodes and 2 are already released. I think that Daiyu is a pretty cool planet to set this show in. It doesn't seem that bad, but everything else about the series just isn't good. The makeup for the Inquisitor and the fifth brother just look awful. The chase scene with Leia was so bad. It is one of the worst scenes that I have seen in Star Wars. And again, I get that Leia is supposed to be quick, but 3 grown men couldn't keep up with her, and one literally walked into a branch and then just stopped. I did make a tweet about this, but this is absolutely terrible. I mean, come on. He stops for a branch and that's it. He couldn't even go around it. He just runs into it and stops. And this tweet is kind of blowing up. A lot of people agree with me, but this looks terrible. I mean, it looks like a joke. You expect better from a company like Lucasfilm. Okay, this is just CW level of ideas here. I mean, this is bad. But heading on over to the Rotten Tomatoes scores, it is sitting in an 88% critic, which is pretty good. Critics usually rate everything Disney-related pretty good, but the audience score is at a 71%, and it's been dropping. Yesterday, it was at a 76%, and now it's at a 71%. Now, I personally wouldn't rate it yet simply because the whole series isn't out, but people are not impressed with the content they've seen. So I'm only going to read a couple, but the first one is a 2-star. It says, I would have turned this off if it wasn't for Ewan McGregor. He was the only thing that felt like Star Wars. Hopefully it gets better. There are some people here rating it 4 stars and 5 stars saying, fantastic, everything we wanted. Thank you, Disney. I wouldn't thank Disney yet. But then we get into more 1 stars, more 2 stars, and even a ½ star here. I'm rating the first 2 episodes here, and so far I'm not impressed. The acting is seriously subpar outside of Ewan McGregor. The action is not impressive, and the whole look and feel of the show is cheap. I 100% agree. It feels cheap. It looks cheap. The acting is bad. It's just not good, unfortunately. I'm convinced the director of this show has never seen someone run in their life. The chase scenes are ridiculously awful, and the acting outside of Ewan is subpar. ½ star. I guess I had high expectations. I really don't like it. Boring as hell except McGregor. Other actors are very bad. This is not an A+ product. I will continue to watch Obi-Wan, and I hope as the show progresses it gets better, because right now I don't really see how it could get worse. This show is not very good. As it continues to release, I will be doing videos talking about it in live streams, but for now that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.